So recently I had the pleasure of representing TyTek Industries at Design and Manufacture at Advanced Manufacturing in Minneapolis. It's commonly known as MD&M. But I was up there, and one thing that we had as people were stopping by our booth to talk about or talk to us about what we do and what we offer, whenever we would mention that we were involved in magnetics and we had a lot of experience and a lot of history there, people were very intrigued as to how they could use magnetics in their processes. And I think that that's something that has struck me in my time here, is you really don't know where the next use of magnetics might be. We've recently started to see them being used as closures in fabrics, and there are other things like that. So is that something that, you can speak to a little bit about, kind of the evolution of how they're used, where they're used? And
I think you've just stolen my thunder, because I was going to just mention that last one you just brought up. I don't think we didn't think and go out to say, golly, let's look at something that would replace hook and loop in a piece of clothing, and particularly a piece of clothing that's very important protective wear. It came to us because the company who's absolutely involved in protective wear said, we need to solve a problem we have with hook and loop, and maybe we can do it with magnets. And they found us, and we taught the magnets. And that, I think, is really, really how it happens. As long as people understand that we have a good knowledge of magnetics and magnets and the different ways they can produce them, and that we would recommend not just the type of magnet, but the type of manufacturing, and produce it for them. They should feel at home and comfortable. I don't presume to be able to think about where the next magnet is coming from. I wish I could. I mean, when I've been in the magnet business since the time of the development of neodymium iron boron, and we all knew this was a very exciting time. But to think of what's happened since in that period of time, as I've mentioned before, miniaturization, lightweight, high energy. I mean, nobody really thought of that, except we understood that it had taken weight out of a vehicle for the CAFE regulations in the early 70s. So we understood that. But then how you think of how that can apply to clothing or to, devices for hanging signage or whatever, it's very difficult, unless you're in that industry. And right. We service so many industries. I mean, it's a joy because, that keeps us very diverse.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, is that, magnets can be used in any industry. Maybe we haven't figured out exactly how to use them in certain industries yet, but they certainly can be. Because anytime you're looking to put two pieces together and it's not permanently attached, you need something that's going to hold up and be able to be detached, reattached. That's the beauty of a magnet. It's permanent.
That's absolutely right. It is permanent. It's a permanent magnet. That we should state, of course, not all magnets are permanent. Electromagnets, for example, only become magnetic in the presence of electric current.
Right.
That's why at scrap metal dealerships or scrap metal shops, you'll see cranes with these big magnets, and they drop down and they flip the switch, and it suddenly becomes magnetic and lifts the material. And then you switch the material off and everything drops off the magnet and it goes back again. That's an electromagnet. Yep. And those are used in a lot of different ways too. That's not our end of things. We don't deal in soft magnet materials, which is, I know that's another word bring in, but those are electromagnets. They're also called soft magnets. But I wouldn't, in my career, there's been so many ideas and products that have been developed. One that comes to mind, very early days of TyTek, as a matter of fact, was somebody who, quite a substantial company, who basically in the operating theatre was saying, there's a problem in that how you, a doctor using surgical instruments, a surgeon using surgical instruments, needs to put them down occasionally and pick something else up. Now, we see it, I've only seen this on television where the doctor says scalpel and so on, the nurse is there. But they developed a magnetic device that just went across the chest, and you could put the devices on. At the end of the day, the nurse would roll up that device and put it ready for going in for sterilizing into the autoclave. Brilliant idea. It saved a lot of time, and it saved the back and forth of this, that, and the other. Who would have thought of that? I mean, a surgeon thought about it, and a nurse thought about it. And I think, again, I come back to the point that our job in TyTek has to be to make sure people are aware that we're here, that we know what we're doing, and we don't know their business. They just need to tell us what they really need, what are the parameters, and then we can go to town with a proposal with the right material, produced the right way at the most economic price, and that's our service.
Yeah,
I don't think it's like most businesses. A lot of businesses where you can say, "Oh, we're going to go to this trade show or that trade show," because people are there to they want magnets. You just found at the show you were just at in Minneapolis that you had somebody looking for that,
right?
And they found us. And they said, "Oh, great, you're here."
Yeah, very true. Yeah, we had a company that stopped by, and they were looking for assembly help is what they were looking for. But then as they started talking to us there on the booth, they realized our level of expertise with magnets and what we could provide. And all of a sudden it went from one conversation to an entirely different conversation, which was, okay, now we're not looking at your help with assembly. We want you guys to make the whole thing, because you can do the assembly, you can do the magnetization, you can give it to us, and it's completely ready to go. So that's one that we're very excited about, because it's kind of right in the wheelhouse of what we like to do, which is to do a magnetic assembly, something that is providing the exact solution that somebody needs, with the level of expertise that they didn't even realize was out there.
Absolutely. And if you look at our products that we make in the magnetic side of TyTek Industries, 85% of them are assemblies.
Yeah.
They need the magnet. They know that the core of the product that they're making, or the core of the component that's going into a product, is going to be a magnet. But when they come to us and they realize what we can add to that, so cutting out their assembly or sending it to another vendor for their part that goes to it, we can supply all those things and put them together. And that's what we do. Very few, as I said, maybe 15%, that's probably a lot, is purely magnets.
Right.
Everything we tend to get involved with finishes up as an assembly, and that's what delights our customer, and for us, it's what we do. It's what we do best.
Well, yeah, because I think that as you said, the magnetics expertise is lacking in the States to a certain extent. People don't understand them. They don't understand how to work with them. They know, oh, I've got to their knowledge of a magnet is a refrigerator magnet or, something like that. And whenever they realize, oh, a magnet would be the solution, then they're thinking, okay, well, how do I work with this magnet? How do I position it where I want it? How do I not pinch my fingers? How do I, do all of this? And that's, again, where our expertise comes in, because a lot of times we're not just designing a magnet. We're designing a magnetic solution that has, all of it comes to them and it's ready to be put into place. It's not a matter of, okay, now you've got this magnet, now you have to do something else with it. It's, you can, put it right in place. You can drop it into an assembly. It's already, in its housing or, whatever kind of a carrier it might need. We've injection molded around magnets. One that I was thinking of was the fish tank cleaner, where you've got, two magnets that are each encased in plastic. One's got a cleaning and you put it on the inside of the tank, and then the other one's on the outside, and you just kind of move it around and
The
it
opposite
wipes off the
polarity.
tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wipes off the tank from the inside and you don't have to dunk your hand in there. So people don't really think about using magnets for that type of stuff.
By the way, there's a very popular with restaurants that fish restaurants,
Oh, I
seafood
bet.
restaurants that have the large tanks.
Yeah, the 1,000
And-
gallon tanks.
and don't really want people's hand to be going in, even if it's in a glove, to clean the inside of the tank.
Right.
But yes, I mean that there again, great idea, and been in use now for quite a while. But yes,
Yeah.
it's the way to go.
Yeah.
Way to go.
So that's where our expertise really shines, is being able to work not only to find the right magnet, but the right magnetic solution.
Yeah.